back, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
Are we doing an intro?
Yeah, that was the
That
intro.
was kind of a crappy intro, but I'll take it.
I'll take it too.
That
All right,
was the
gentlemen,
intro.
ladies and gentlemen, or whoever watches this show.
Us.
I think my dogs might actually know how to operate this iPad and watch my show because they want to see them, doing a little cameo.
Oh,
But
yeah.
anyway, no. Today we're coming together and we would like to discuss the playoff situation because, quite frankly, if you're gonna make it to where 7 people get into the per conference, 7 teams per conference getting into the playoffs anyway, why not just drop that BS last game that you added? Make that the week right after, right? The week right after regular season, a bye week for everybody, and then have 2 teams from each division, the top 2 teams from each division, playoff bracket style. No more if this seed wins and that seed. No. Straight up bracket style. The top 4, just like they always, and then the seeding, just like always. But you have 8. Number 1 plays number 8, right, and so forth. I don't care if they're the same division. I don't care. But that's what I'm proposing to these 2 gentlemen over here. What do you guys think?
Yep.
I like it because it keeps the mediocre teams out. So, like the game we just watched on Thursday, these are 2 teams that are struggling to find their identity, or not necessarily struggling to find their identity, but struggle to get their game plan going. And one of them is potentially going to make it into the playoffs.
Actually, out of the 2, I mean, we have what?
Minnesota's
really
a better
has
team. Minnesota's a better team.
But do
than
they
this
really
team.
have a shot? They're 5 and 7. I
No.
know this last one made them 6,
I mean,
right?
yeah, they're 6 and 7. But
They
thing
don't
is,
have a shot.
but what it is even if they made it to the playoffs, all they're going to do is
Sadly, Pittsburgh has a shot still.
Right, they still do. But all they're going to do is do like what the Seahawks did a couple of years back, 9 and 7. All you're going to do is upset a good team. That's it. So if all you're trying to do is shake up the natural order of things, right? Then just simply like we're proposing, just have them each conference leader come in there.
I mean, we've already got the playoffs pretty much stinking it up with bad, mediocre teams anyway.
Right.
I think that, one, if you allow this to happen, it does create a better competition throughout the regular season.
Right.
We can go back to the regular 16-week schedule, or if you really want to make it interesting, even get rid of those 2 extra games, go to a 14 regular game season. Because, I mean, obviously with the extended playoffs with the extra teams, you're going to need an extra day in there to create a bye week between the championship and the Super Bowl like you already have.
Right.
So, I mean, I definitely see this as an opportunity for the NFL to really reassess this, because to me, we're definitely not getting a good.
But
We're not getting a good product. Let's put it that way.
what I want to say on it is I agree with the taking out the 17th game, making that the bye week for everybody. So you playing 16 games straight, whether your team is healthy. or
No,
not.
we still have a bye week. We can still go because we've always had the bye week.
Are you talking about the?
I'm talking about the extra one that they just
Oh,
added
you're talking
to make
about
an 18-week schedule.
Take game 17 away. Make
No,
that
game 18.
That's
Game
a-
18.
nobody plays.
Well,
that
it's a bye week. That's why there's 18, but there's 17 regular season games.
week. Yeah. So if you take away game 17 and you make that everybody who made the playoffs don't play that week, but then they start 1. Now, do you do this 1 through 8, or do you do the best in this division plays the second best in this division? Then when you get to the top 4 and you go 1 through like that.
You mean 1 through 6, right?
Well,
No,
it'll actually be
4,
1 through 8.
Yeah, 1
Oh,
through
yeah,
8,
1 through 8, sorry.
1 through 8 on each division, and then if you're 1 and 2 in your division, you guys play each other to see who represents your division in the next 4.
I have no problem with having that discussion because I understand that there is a chance, although I think minimal, that the first seed and the 8th seed will be from the same division.
Yeah,
Ultimately, that's what we're concerned with, right?
they'll be playing each other again,
And even if that's not the case, then you still might be looking at so maybe that's what we should
Well,
do.
I give you a scenario like this.
That would have to be discussed because we would have to find a way to do it fairly.
But see, like I said, I give you a scenario like this: the Rams and the Cardinals are 1 and 2 in their division. So it goes like this: if the Cardinals finish first and the Rams finish 5th in stats or wins and losses, but they're 1 and 2 in the same division, do they play each other to see who represents their division, or do they go to number 5 plays number 3 and number 1 plays number 8?
I like what you posed the first time. So all the number ones, all the division leaders,
Yeah.
right, have to play. So that's kind of like the wild card
Yeah,
weekend.
there's no wild card.
How to dive that up so that how to divide it up to make sure that it's fair would be an interesting way of, because you'd have to find a fair way of doing
Yeah,
it.
and like if both teams like I said, we're using those two because they're close in their record. They're the only division where it's that close.
And if it is a division, right, where there's two teams out of the division that would end up playing each other, they would have to have a system to swap that out with someone in a different division. Because the last thing anybody wants is to have an interdivision rival where they're playing that third game in the postseason.
Yeah.
I don't like it. We've seen it too many times in recent history.
Unless it's the championship game.
Well, I mean, yeah, if it's a championship game, I have no problem seeing the Steelers and Browns battle it out again, or Green Bay and Minnesota,
But
or
not right after the not right
yeah,
after the
I
game.
mean,
not right after
I would
the
like.
season ends. Okay, I got you.
I want to see. I mean, give them a chance to earn it is what I'm getting at.
Right.
And so, granted, that opens a discussion. It's valid points that we need to probably address.
So you take-
but I still believe that this would be definitely a better product, because right now, take a look at all the, well, if this team wins and that team, no. Let's get rid of this, seeding and wild cards. No.
Yeah.
It gets too confusing, and all
It's
it is
reward based
well,
on if you're the number one team in your division of a conference, the NFC, AFC, you get a game off where everybody else still got to play.
yeah, for the first seed,
Versus
why-
everybody should play.
And I get it. You're being rewarded because you kicked ass all season. I mean, to me, all it does is create talking points when you get into this wild card. If that, then this type scenarios that all these commentators and sport analysts are talking till they're blue in the face, and what really gets accomplished? Nothing.
I mean,
Nothing,
shouldn't you miss
because it doesn't matter. It's not going to change who actually makes it.
Can we just mix it up? Like once we have all the division leaders, right? Because that's your eight games.
That's your
I mean,
1 and
18
2.
Okay, cool. Once they get into the playoffs, just have a random draw of who plays who.
Oh, you talking about like the wheel?
Like,
yeah.
Pull out a number.
Just pull out a number.
Pull the number out of the hat.
Yeah, that's it.
But
And they
would it
play.
go? Would it go all 16 teams or one?
All
one and eight
16.
on this-
No,
So
all
one and eight
okay,
on this
so
division,
like
No. The
this-
conferences are gone. Once you get in the
that-
playoffs, the playoffs.
But even
playoffs.
with
That's it.
that, the only, because even with the random draw, right? Let's say let's say 1 through 4 are in the hat, right? Because they're the division leaders, right? Well, then you have so you go ahead, and because they're the 5th seed, you have them go draw out of the hat. There's still a chance
That
that
they might,
that 8th seed is grabbing
Number
their
one, yeah.
Well, no, not number one. Their fellow division.
Yeah.
Right. And that's and
Conference,
and
yeah.
for that first week, we want to avoid that at all costs. I have no problem if they're playing in round 2 or 3 or the championship, but we really should avoid having that third game as the first game of the playoffs. Is my point.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I
So
get
like but it would have to go straight bracket style at that point. So if with the rankings of 1 through 4, that makes it perfect, right? That would be their rank going into the bracket. So whoever wins would be bracket.
Well, you remember when the 1 through 4, like you win your division, you're in the playoffs,
Yeah.
right? And then you have a team that's 6-9, or 6-10, won a division. Remember Dallas? Remember the St.
Eagles.
Louis Cardinals, all the way back
Yeah,
when.
the Eagles,
Now you got a
yeah.
team that hasn't really done that in the whole year, who's ahead of teams that are 10-6 and 11-5 at that time. And the problem I have with that is, you win your division, you're automatically in. It doesn't mean you should be above somebody that's been playing great all year. So once you get
That-
to the,
I don't-
once you get to the 16, I mean,
I must be losing. I'm
Unless-
losing something.
no, I'm saying you win your, like the team, like okay, you look at the NFC East.
He was talking about like the NFC East, like
where-
last
where
year.
everybody
Okay.
was sucking.
Everybody
the
sucked, yeah.
Eagles made it into the playoffs with
And
a
they
tiebreaker.
Well, see,
Right.
and then okay, this would alleviate that by this example, right? When you take the top 2 teams of all the divisions, then that creates the better competition throughout the regular season. And yeah, I get it. There's going to be a crappy division there, like there always is, to where the top 2 maybe be 8-8 and 6 and whatever.
Well, in this case, it was 6-10 and
But-
5.
but-
I get that, but with the way it is now, you're looking at 3 teams from a single.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
like that either, because I think that when you have these mismatches, because let's take a look at history past here. We've seen the Dallas Cowboys, and even Philly, they beat up on their own division.
Mm-hmm.
They rarely can beat anybody in their own conference,
Right.
And so so people don't mind when there's only one team that comes out of the East, right? That used to be the case with the AFC West, right?
AFC
You
South
would only get the Chargers or
Or
Kansas
the
City
Chiefs
recently.
or the Vegas Raiders.
Broncos.
Denver had their day in the sun not too long ago.
There's always one
But
team.
there was always that one team. Why? Well, because you had the likes of Pittsburgh and Baltimore always dominant.
Right.
Right. So and granted that may be a detriment in some aspect and it may need further conversation. I still like the two teams from every division playing for it because when you're that close, that those bottom rung teams are gonna play harder.
Well,
That's true.
my counter. Well, I don't know if it's a counterpoint. I guess to answer your point, the reason why I don't have a problem with a 6-10 team coming into the playoffs because they're the division leader is because I'll use my division as an example. If the Patriots are like with the Patriots, they are always number one because the AFC East is weak, right? They fed off their division. So are you sitting there saying because they didn't play any quality teams, they're not qualified to be in there, even though they got a winning record?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you take 1 and 2.
But I mean, it's based on their division.
Yeah,
right?
it's based on
right. So their division is weak, no matter
If you
what my
win your
record
division,
is.
What the problem comes in if you win your division you're in. If you come in second in your division you're in, but you're only playing for 1 and 2 in your division. You're not trying to be the best. They can run that.
It doesn't matter as long as I won my division. I'm in the playoffs.
Well, no, I'm saying, but if you
and
do the 1 and 2,
the only way to
just playing to be number.
the
2.
only way of getting away from that is basically having them play everybody. But then how would you fix that? Because the only way for them to play everybody, you could get it to where the conferences play everybody. Like for instance, because they add the alternate conference in, so you have those 4 games now 5 of whatever the opposing conference. Then that way, if we got rid of that, then we could play. Everybody could play each other in their own conference, kind of like what they do in basketball. Everybody plays each other in their own conference.
Well, let me say something here. It's 32 teams, right?
Yeah.
There's 16 in each division.
Yep.
How about each other play each other once, and then you take the top 8 out of that division. You take the top 8, no matter what conference.
That's what I was saying. So follow me on this because basically it wouldn't. If you had the one team, so let's pick AFC.
Yeah.
Right. If they play every team once, that's 15 games.
Okay, so there needs to be a
Because
16.
you
Okay.
can't
Well,
count.
actually, a 15 game season. Actually, you can come with a discernible number 1 all the way down because it's an odd number. Somebody's going to be better than somebody else, right or wrong.
That's a valid point.
If you go with your 14 game season,
But
you
it's
couldn't
16
because
teams,
then
so you have to play 15 games. at least.
yeah, but then okay, well.
So if you go to 15 games,
because that's what he's talking about. I mean, I'm not even getting to that point. I'm getting to the point to
but
where
that
let's
makes
go.
sense, though. But that makes sense.
It does because then there's no more. Well, this team beat that team.
Yeah.
But then of course, and we all know any given Sunday, right? I mean that is the cliche. We even saw an 8th seed Giants win it all.
Yep.
Okay.
Woo, 8 and 8. They were 8 and 8. Twice.
Well,
They were twice.
six seed. Sorry,
They
six
were
seed.
twice.
They won it all.
They were 8 and 8 twice, and they won it all. Both
Well,
times.
they
were 9 and 7.
They were the 6th seed the first time. They were the division leader the second time.
Okay, I know that one time they were 8 and 8. The other one they were division leader at 9 and 7.
Yeah, something like
But I
that.
know the second time, the first
they
time
were
it was
9
8
and
and 8.
7.
But either
But
way,
either way.
but they did win it all. And the thing about it is, like you said, any given Sunday.
yeah,
any
and
given Sunday.
so for me, it's like I don't really like. I like the division the way it's set up.
Yeah.
You play at home, you play on the road. It's your division, whether
And you're in.
And so that right there is 6 games. Then you play another division in your conference. That's another 4 teams, right?
Yeah.
So that's 10 games. Okay. They add a 4 of the alternate conference. That's 14, right? And then they add 2, right?
Random games.
It's not
Well,
random.
one AFC, one NFC.
Back before the current model, they would grab the teams from the other remaining conference divisions that had the similar or same record as you. So if you were first in your division, you played
number
the
one
first.
that was first the last year.
Right? And that's why it's always been a little lopsided. They want to make it tougher for you the next year.
So that's why they added the 17th.
The 17th game is basically another non-conference game. So, like if you're AFC, they added another
playing the NFC.
NFC game.
Yeah.
Now, and like I said, this gets really kind of complicated when you look at it. And then one of the things that I would like to do is simplify it. And then I think that if we did go back to the 16, just the original 16 games, and we can talk about modifying that as if we want to, but just going back to that and making that week 18 a bye week for everybody, and then start the postseason with a bracket style, where there's no more, well, if this team wins, then they play this team. That gets too complex and kind of BS. Right, that doesn't need to be. The only time you need to probably worry about who plays who is, like I was saying, that first week of the postseason. Mm-hmm. You want, if possible, all the number ones to play a number two. Now, how does that work out? Because obviously you don't want them in the same division, but you'll need to find a way to seed that properly into a bracket to where the winner of 1 and 4 play each other, and the winner of 2 and 3 game play each other.
Okay.
And so that way, boom, bracket, and then boom, now all of a sudden you have the championships.
The one thing that still needs to be handled is getting rid of that because you had the best record, you get a bye week.
I don't agree with that. Especially, it was great when they did it for the first and second seed. That way it was kind of like universal, and you had to earn your spot as a wild card. But at this point in time, it all seems to be gimmicky anyway.
Yeah.
So
it's an advantage to the person that won first.
And how many times have we seen to where the first seed or second seed that was running hot, now all of a sudden because of that bye week, they're not so hot no more. And they lose
in the first round.
They're losing. Well, not the first round. They're losing in what they call the divisional round.
Yeah. Right. And so they that's why I say if you got 8, if you move it up to 8, because right now it's at 7, you move it up to 8. Everybody plays. There's no bye week for nobody. So get your butt out there and keep going.
Well, like I said, get rid of that game 17,
and then make it a bye.
That way, that 18th week can be your bye week,
and everybody plays.
Week 19 is your postseason.
And you just go 1 through 8 all the way up.
The whole point, the whole point is just to basically get these mediocre teams not in the playoffs.
Well, I like
you're
it.
You're gonna have a couple there. You're gonna have
no matter what. Because when we have 8 teams, we're gonna get some mediocre talent. But then it's hard to know who's mediocre and who's not, because not everybody is playing the same type of people. When you're adding an alternate conference and each conference is different, come on. Are you going to put the NFC North on the same level as the NFC East?
No.
Or are you going to put the NFC North on the same level?
The NFC North
as the NFC West,
the same right now. But if you say NFC West, if you say if
maybe
you say NFC West versus NFC East, then that's a whole.
Only because right now Green Bay is dominant, and none of the other North teams are.
Hold on. We can't. No. Are you telling me that Minnesota is on the same level as Washington?
Without Chase Young, yeah. Without Chase Young,
no, that's
they're better.
But see, but that's my point.
Minnesota is a more complete. You're not
going to be facing the same talent.
But what I'm saying is Minnesota's a more complete team. Even Chicago is a little bit better than
the Giants or Washington.
Yeah. Like
I'm gonna say
NFC North is way better.
That proves my point. So when you have another division, right, that has to play the NFC East. And then, or like in the AFC, to where they got the luck of the draw and their division's playing the NFC East. But then the other division has a tougher opponent with like the NFC North or the NFC West.
But
how do you compare those?
I'm going back to what he said about Minnesota.
Unless you shake up the divisions.
What you said about Minnesota,
and that's something that could be discussed.
What you just said was, are you going to say that Minnesota is the same as Washington? Minnesota just dropped a game to Detroit that was just dumb. And Washington has been dropping games all year that's dumb. So, yeah, in that case, I'm going to put them on the same playing field.
You're talking about a singular game.
Their records are almost similar. Their records are almost similar. They're separated by 1 or 2 games.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is the NFC East, the NFC North, the NFC West, the NFC South. The NFC South has Tampa Bay. The NFC West has the Cardinals, the Rams,
Seattle
and San Francisco. Now you take those 2 out. The NFC North has Green Bay and Minnesota. So it's 2-2, 1-1. Who's the other teams that can jump in there? Washington, maybe. New Orleans, maybe. That's it. That's a wrap. That's your 8 teams right there.
Right.
So when you say, are you going to say these divisions are the same? Yeah, Dallas can run away with the NFC.
But see, that's my.
and Green
but
Bay
John,
can run away with the
we're
NFC.
not
North.
saying
The rest of them are the same.
we're not saying that they're the same, John. That's my point
That's
is.
what-
No,
you
that's
can't-
what he said. Are you going to tell me they're the same? And I'm
No, I
saying yes,
said
they are.
No,
they're not.
That's our point.
not the
They're
same.
not the same.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point.
You can't, and it doesn't even matter what divisions you're talking about, right? Whether it's the NFC East or the NFC North, they're not comparable. You're going to have a different quality of teams. You're going to have different quality in opponents and special teams and coaching. So, but that's how they're basically deciding this. Is like they're going off of your record,
Right.
And so when it comes to like the AFC, well, if your record includes the NFC East, how is that fair when another division's record is the same, but they played the North?
Well, that's
Or even the West, because
But
the
you're
West
talking about-
the
you're
West
talking
is
about
more
strength of schedule
difficult.
right now, and that's not how the NFL does. That's how college
No,
football does it.
but I'm saying that's one of the reasons why I want to get out of that and just take the top 2 of each division and
Yeah.
leave it at that. Because if you're not competitive enough to take
win
those
one or two spots.
one or two
One or
spots in
two.
your own division, you don't
Then
deserve
you
to be
don't need
in
to be there
in the
anyway.
playoffs.
So get rid of the 3. Like, say if it was Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Baltimore at this point. Even though
Only
it's not.
two.
It's
Only two.
Cincinnati- Only
Obvious-
Cincinnati and whoever would show up.
Because then I mean, how many times have we seen Cleveland right now eke in only to get shut out in
Yeah.
week 1,
And
or
then you
Cincinnati eke in and get shut out week
Yeah.
1? It'll hopefully alleviate that because
But you
now
don't- but
they're not
so-
there's not that third from the same
So
division.
the other question is, okay, with that being stated, and that being, I agree on 100% wholeheartedly on that one. So do we make, say, New Orleans and Tampa Bay come out there as 1 and 2? Do we make them play each other, or do we do a bracket for that?
They can't come out 1 and 2.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So even if you're going off of record, which I don't think is fair, right? And they don't even do that now. They don't even go off of record to seed their divisions or to seed the playoffs anyway, right? So you're not going to see a 1 and 2 out of the same division.
Yeah.
So
The records-
that's a moot
the
point.
records will state where you stand.
What you can see and what you may see is a 1 and 5, right?
Yeah, well, you'll
Because
see-
they're the best of the second rung.
yeah, like
Right.
the Rams and the Rams and the Cardinals right now.
Right now,
are
yeah.
5.
Rams would take the
The
whatever
5
the
and
second
Cardinals-
seed,
Yeah, they'll take the second seed in the division.
Well,
but
the second seed in the division, but in the thing, it would be
they'll be
probably 5.
Yeah, and then they won't play each other until maybe the championship game.
If you can help it. But so if you, depending on where they draw or how they decide to solve that first week, because obviously you want all the ones to play
The
a number
lower-
2,
the lower.
and then from there it's just brackets. So they may face each other, in
So you
one of
look
the
at somebody
one
like
of the other
whoever finished
games.
fourth, like say if Dallas finished fourth, they will play the Rams first off. And if the Rams beat them, they don't move up; they just stay at number 5. But you say take 2 and 3 lose, for some reason Tampa Bay loses, and whoever the third Green Bay loses, then you got Arizona still sitting there, the Rams still sitting there, but they don't play each other. until
The way I would do it.
That's how it would work because one won't play 5.
So
and
you,
8,
so
and
wait a
6
minute.
and
So
7
like
still there.
you have your first seed, right? You have your 4th seed, right? Which those are your leaders in divisions. Then you have the 2nd, and then you have the 3rd, right? Well, whoever plays these teams, the winner would play the winner of this team.
I can tell you right now.
You see what I'm saying?
1 plays 8, 4 plays 5, 2 plays 6,
Well, no,
and
but
3 plays 7.
The only reason I don't think that would work is
that's how they do it now.
Because when you get it, I understand that.
He's trying to come from that.
But what I would do is I wouldn't just do that. I would try to find a fair way to where you get to where these are seated, and then they're not going to be seated with the same division rival
Well, that's what I'm saying.
for at least this first week,
Okay,
right?
you're
So
right.
all of these 1 and 4, 1 through 4, because 1 and 4 are have their own game.
Yeah, they
but
don't play
the winners of that game would play, is what I'm saying.
But that's only if you're doing 4 teams. Like when you're doing 4 teams. So if you put the rest of them in there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You go off of who
Yeah.
who
He's
they're.
saying the
so-
top-
What I'm saying,
he's
the
saying
way-
the
I'm
top-
only
Hold on.
John. You're missing it. Let me explain. So I'm only labeling 1 through 4.
Right.
They're getting a game, and it's going to be a number 2 of somebody else's division. Is what I'm saying.
And that's what I'm saying. But
But then the bracket, once that determination is made of who they play,
the determination is
Then it's all
made.
bracket.
But I'm saying if there's no bye week for the number 1 seed,
Mm-hmm.
then you're playing 8 teams. 1 plays 8.
in
And it goes like- you
in
might as well
theory,
write 'em down.
it would be 8, and then 2 would get
2 will play-
7,
2 play
3
7,
would be
6,
6,
and
4 would be 5.
Now, you look at 4 and 5.
But
Rams
see-
are 5. The Rams are 5.
And that would actually probably work because
And the
more often
only
than
time-
not, one is always going to have
But-
the 5th.
Yeah.
But the problem is that then
When you get
if they
that
win
bracket-
and they win, they're playing for the championship
But
spot.
only if. Now they're supposed to play the lowest seed, right? So let's
Supposedly.
say.
Well, that's why they have this
let's
thing.
say 6 and 7 won.
That's why they have
And then
that. If
it
this team
switches.
wins, they play this team. If this
Yeah.
team wins, that's why I want to get rid of that. Outside of that first week,
So
I want
whatever
a
that
straight
bracket,
bracket.
is, that's what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, and if you want to, like, so for the 1 and 4 bracket, right? The second in Division 1 and the second in Division 4 have to come down here.
Well, actually,
Would that work?
I mean, if the Rams finish 5, they're here, right? If the Rams finish 5, they're
No,
not 4.
second would get 7.
One,
during the current-
2, 3, 2, 7, 6.
I mean, if you
you're
want
right,
to,
you're right, you're
if
right.
you
So the way I would try to work it, if it could work, is since the 1 and 4 technically are supposed to play each other.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever wins those games would play each other. So the best way to do it is to take those divisions, whoever took first and whoever took fourth, take those number 2s down to the other bracket.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And then that would work because then the only way that they're the same division could play is in the championship.
Okay.
And then that would alleviate a lot of the stupidity.
But I would also do this, and this is how you can see a Tampa Bay and Arizona Cardinals Super Bowl. You take 1 through 8.
3 teams in the same.
No.
I'm just saying.
I'm talking about the scenarios of the best teams and they wind up playing each other for the Super Bowl. You take this top 8. You take this top 8. The AFC and the NFC. You might not have an NFC team in the Super Bowl if you do it this way. Our number 1 plays number 8. Our number 1 plays number 8 over here, and then it gets down to a point where it's gonna. Well, actually, it still would be an AFC NFC team.
The problem is that you're talking about a cross conference
playoff. Playoff, yeah.
That doesn't work because you know why it doesn't work? There's no Super Bowl. Super Bowl is always AFC NFC.
but that's where my point was.
The best teams might be in this division versus.
But
the
see,
best
that's
teams.
what-
and then you get these blowout Super Bowls.
But that's where
watch
my point I said a little bit while back was once you have your 1 through 8 settled by the end of the season, conference doesn't mean anything. It's a Super Bowl champion. You're the champion of the
You want
NFL.
the best teams in there. You don't want
Period.
just a conference versus
Just give
conference.
it-
You want the best teams.
Do we still want to stick to conference or do we want to go ahead and
think
like
if you
he's
want to
saying and intermix it from that point on?
Well,
Yeah,
what I'm
and
saying
the
is
best 2 teams
no,
survive.
what I'm
Whether they're
saying
in the same conference or not.
what I'm saying they're saying is you can have your division leaders get rid of the conference.
The AFC, NFC conference.
Once you get to the
rid of that.
playoffs, it's just the best team in the football playing.
And that's why they should play each other.
Because
they should intermix.
whether if the Packers won, are you saying the NFC Packers won, or are you just saying the Packers
the
won?
NFL Packers.
The NFL
I
Packers
see
won.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
The problem is that then that kills the conference championships. That kills your conference titles.
Conference champions don't mean shit anyway.
is it-
If you don't win a Super Bowl,
How-
you
wait,
second
time-
best,
time out.
third best, fourth best.
How is
Shit.
the conference championships not mean anything?
Because you still
Well,
if
it
you
just
win
means-
the
No,
conference
no.
championship and you don't win a Super Bowl, you're second best no matter what.
But
second
you're
best.
still a conference champ, just like you're still a division champ.
But you're still second best.
It doesn't matter.
What they say, who remembers
I think
the
we
team
just need
that
to
didn't win the
restructure
Super
it to
Bowl?
where-
I'm saying, who
Division-
remembers the
okay,
team
Okay,
that didn't win
because
the
John,
Super Bowl?
what you're really posing now is you want to get rid of conferences and just intermix everybody.
No, what we said was that after you win your conference, that's
The
your
division.
conference. Your division. The best team should wind up in the Super Bowl.
But see that's
They
not
might be
easy.
from the same-
But once again, now we're going back to my initial statement. You can't really determine that, right, based off of their records. Once you make the playoffs, that's why I want to do the bracket. So somewhere along the line, you kind of got on a different track there.
Well, what I'm saying is, I think you could potentially still do your bracket. It's just what I'm saying is with the conferences, right? You say you got the best of the NFC and the best of the AFC, right? What's the point of the conferences? If I won my division, that's my ticket into the playoffs. Once I'm in the playoffs, then I don't care who. If you're NFC, AFC, I'm beating you just to get to the Super Bowl. I'm trying to be Super Bowl champion.
But see,
But he's still going through the conference.
you guys are still you're bypassing the conference bracket and are trying to create a Super Bowl bracket, which the Super Bowl has always been the best of the AFC and the best of the NFC.
right, because remember it was at the beginning of the football, it was
So what you're trying to do is you're trying to erase the conference altogether, which at that point then there doesn't need to be a conference at all and just make it straight NFL.
Top 16 teams.
Well, it's
top
they're
18
both
go.
under the NFL anyway. So.
Yeah,
They- and
NFC,
they are.
Yeah.
the
But
conference game is just to get people
essentially what
hyped
you're
up
trying to
about it.
say is you want to get rid of conferences and make it all one conference.
Yeah, I mean, I never seen the purpose of the conference in the first place. I'm just being honest. I didn't.
It's
never,
true.
Well, it's because
I personally never saw it.
From a gambler's aspect.
I mean,
yeah, the
I mean,
conference is
no,
gonna be there.
from the
And
from,
I understand
from
what
the
you're
past
saying,
reason when
but
there was
you're-
the NFL Alliance and all
but
that.
it's funny
because
because we were discussing this stuff, and all of a sudden this is coming new because that may change this whole thing that we're trying to talk about when it comes to the playoffs.
well, it
anyway.
was just a thought I randomly
And
just
it is
had.
Well,
something
yeah,
actually-
but now-
it's something actually,
but now that
me
takes
and
us in a whole different
yeah.
direction.
My
Way
bad. It was
way
just-
before we
All right.
we started
I
doing
think-
this, me and him actually talked about
I
this.
think we've ranted about this enough. Comment below, like, subscribe, and let us know what your thoughts
Please
are.
comment about the conference thing.
Like, share,
I
subscribe.
would like to hear from y'all.
All right. We may come back with something else, but right now, we're out.
We out.
It was just a thought that came in my
But
head.
it's- but it's- it
Why
makes-
have the
it makes it
conference if
surprising
everybody's trying to be the
figure
Super
it
Bowl
out.
champion? I don't care if I'm beating the NFC team to get there.
What you guys are failing to understand is that even if you lose the Super Bowl, you still get that title of conference champs. Why would you want to take that away?
Because you,
Why? No, seriously.
You're still
Why?
known as number 2.
Who
matter
cares?
what.
I'm still a conference champ. I'm still the best of the NFC or the AFC. What you're trying to do is now you're like, well, who cares? It's number 2. Bullshit. They beat everybody else in their conference.
That's that participation trophy check we was talking about.
What the fuck? You guys are fucking mental.
I would just get it to a point where I'm like,
I'm stupid.
I won the
know what I was
division.
saying.
The division is my ticket to the championship. I can care less about. I don't even remember how many division championships most of these teams are outside the Patriots. But I'm just sitting there saying,
He said outside the Patriots. He's one-sided all the way. Sitting in that
outside the Patriots, I don't remember. But what I'm sitting there saying is that once you win the division championship, you don't care about the NFC, AFC
just need to
championship.
go out there and
You just.